Students, let us have a look on the next topic from this chapter called Importance of Business Environment. This is also one of the most important topics. Here it's very easy to learn that how you can remember all the points under this topic of importance of business environment. Dear students, when we talk about this particular topic, its acronym is comprised of two of your favorite social media platforms, that is FB, or I think you are better in a position to tell, WhatsApp. Yes, students, it's as simple as that, these two platforms, FB or WhatsApp. Here, WhatsApp can also be pronounced without an H, so remember like that. Now, FB or WhatsApp, let's see how they are linked. These are all the main points in the topic. We can skip one S in WhatsApp. So, let's have a look. Here F, students, it stands for, rather these two letters, it stands for first mover benefit. First mover benefit, or we call it advantage. In the book it is advantage. So, first mover benefit. Then O represents opportunities. R shows optimum utilization of the resources. Then W represents, see, WATS can be taken as one word, WATS, where it represents warning and threat signals. And APP are representing another 3 points as adaptation, or we can say accommodating to the rapid changes. P represents policy and planning and policy formation, and another P depicting enhancement of performance. So students, we are basically reading out the importance of business environment, that why should we study the environment and its different components, and these are the importance or benefits of such a reading and analysis that we also called SWOT analysis. So basically the question is talking about that why this SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity and threat analysis, is important, and these are the points that it gives a first mover benefit or advantage. It leads to opportunities and investing in those fruitful opportunities. It also represents and mean the utilization of resources in the most optimum manner to ensure efficiency. Warning and threat signals can be obtained beforehand if we have a close look on the different components, and it leads to better adaptation to the rapid changes around us. It also leads to planning and policy formation according to the roadmap that we create out. And finally, it leads to enhancement in the performance, that is effectiveness and efficiency of an organization towards achievement of its common organizational goals. So now let us see, students, that how these points have been covered in NCERT on page number 72. It's under the topic importance of business environment. Now you see, the first point is identifying the opportunities and getting the first mover advantage. So as we talked about in the acronym, it is FB, you can remember like this, first mover benefit or advantage, and the next one O, OR's O we have taken. So it gives opportunities and first mover benefit to the organization, thereby improving their performance. Early identification of the opportunities helps an enterprise to be the first to exploit the market and instead of losing them to their competitors. So Maruti Udyog's example has also been taken, that how they have been a leader in the small car market. So these are the points, students, from where the case studies can be formulated. So you should read these lines carefully. Second, it talks about WATS, as we said, warning and threat signals. Here warning and threat signals. Early warnings it provide to the organization so that they can take appropriate steps within time and be proactive towards the changes. So otherwise changes hinder the performance. So in order to avoid such an hindrance, the organization must be proactive and they must carefully study their environment to become aware of these early warnings and threat signals so that they can be effective and efficient and act right on the time to avoid major mistakes. So we have discussed these points of OR. This is another point with R of OR. So resources, it represents the resources, and by studying the business environment carefully, a business enterprise is capable in tapping the useful resources and utilizing these resources as per their own expectations and thereby giving them a good return with output. Now, as any enterprise depends on its environment as source of inputs, so as an outlet for outputs, these resources can make sense only when the enterprise utilizes them properly and converts its resources into outputs the way the environment desires from them. So these lines are the important lines from where case studies might be formed, students. So you must remember that such things have been talked in particular point called R of OR in the acronym. So FB or WATS have been covered. Now we are left with three another points called app. So I have used the letter A for this particular point because it represents coping with the rapid changes. Whenever we talk about coping with the changes, we talk about a word called adaptation. So here you need to remember, students, that it's nothing with A. However, if you write this point also, you will be given marks, but it's always better to use the NCERT wordings as given in the headings. So we need to write about coping with the rapid changes that have been taking place at a very fast pace, turbulent market conditions, divisions and subdivisions, the fragmentations, demanding customers, the rapid changes in the technology, intense global competition. So these are the few problems that have been depicted under the point of dynamism or existence of changes in the environment of a business. So increasingly there have been dynamism in the environment, and in order to cope up with these changes, the managers must understand and examine their environment in advance. So next point is P, that relates with planning and policy formation. So with the study of environment, with the knowledge of opportunities and threats, that is, you can talk about the SWOT analysis, the firm can actually help and guide the environment of the business and take appropriate decisions as per the pertaining situations in the market. The last point under this is another P, that helps in the performance upliftment of the organization. It's very natural, students, that when the business will understand its environment, it will also understand that how far it can make a difference in the performance. So the future of an enterprise is closely bound with what is happening in the environment, because environment is something, students, in the very first initial pages of this chapter, a definition of environment has been given, that it is that segment on which the business has a very little control, but still it affects the performance of the business. So that's why it's always advisable to have an insight over its various features in order to enhance the performance of the enterprise. So these are all the points relating to importance of business environment. Easily remember them as FB or WhatsApp. So let us now see a few questions that have come from the topic importance of studying the business environment. Now this is a case study, students, that has been asked in this year's sample paper itself. So let us read it from the last line first. State the concept of business environment that has been talked about. So this is a one marker. Here I think you can explain that what do you mean by the word business environment and how it actually has an impact over the firm. And secondly, it is asking on identification and explanation of the points that how a good understanding of business environment enabled the person to improve the performance of the enterprise. So what kind of impact the study of environment has on the performance enhancement of the enterprise that has been talked about. So answer to question 1 can be unrelated to this case study, and you can simply write that business environment is rather a sum total of all the external forces, including specific as well as general, on which the firm has a little control. The firm can although control the internal factors or specific forces which are related up to some extent, but the overall control of the firm is not there on its micro and macro environment, but these factors do have an impact or an effect on the business and its working. So this is what we can explain in the concept of business environment. Now let us see the case study from beginning to answer the second part of the question, which carries 2 marks. Mr. Vivek Vaswani, a foodpreneur, combined his passion for food with his entrepreneurial skills and started his innovative fast food outlet. So passion for food has been combined with entrepreneurial skills, and he has opened a fast food outlet, O Chill, in 2021. He had started his career as a food blogger and noticed that numerous Indian customers were looking for reasonable and pure vegetarian fast food options for dining out. The high-end restaurants were not opted by many of them as they were exorbitantly priced. The prices were too high, due to which the people are not choosing the high-end restaurants, and this opportunity has been well conceived by this passionate food blogger who has opened finally a food outlet in the year 2021 with the name called O Chill. Though many global fast food chains were running across the country, yet not many outlets offered reasonable and healthy pure vegetarian fast food options to customers. O Chill became the pioneer in offering a healthy and delicious variety of food. So these are the key words from the study you can take up. What came as a surprise for consumers was that even without using onion and garlic in the pasta sauce, marinade and ketchup, the food actually tasted great. So the company witnessed increase in net profit of 26% in the second financial year and became a market leader. So we can make out that how well the company is progressing, and you are supposed to tell the features, the importance that has actually led to the company's growth. So just now, students, we have talked about a few points which you must be remembering with the acronym FB or WhatsApp. Now if we link these points with the acronym, you can clearly say that the question first of all talked about his innovation for the fast food outlet, and he finally started the career as a blogger Then since he was the first one to provide the reasonable and healthy pure vegetarian fast food options, he has become a pioneer. So seeing these options and trying them for the first time, he has actually, the entrepreneur Mr. Vivek has actually garnered the opportunities and taken the first mover benefit in the segment. So this point clearly represents that harnessing the opportunities and getting the first mover advantage out of them. This is one and the single point, the point number 1 under importance of business environment. And since it is a 2 marker, you have to denote 2 of the points. Secondly, you can say, students, that this particular firm, Ochil, have been progressing. The last line says that they have earned a net profit of 26% in this particular second financial year. So which means that nothing but performance of the enterprise has uplifted, and this importance, one of the importance of study of business environment is improvement in the performance of the enterprise, which has been talked about. So out of this you can talk about first mover benefit by harnessing the opportunities, and secondly you can talk about enhancement in the performance of the business by grasping the opportunities and taking the first step forward. So I hope the case studies are clear. Let's see the next one. Here there is another case study which is talking about the points of importance of understanding the business environment, which is again of 4 mark. So here the government is considering a pioneer proposal to launch a single debit cum credit card to increase the ease and usage for the consumers. The card, which will be called the National Mobility Card, will have unique advantages for making payments in metro, buses, parking and making transactions during visits abroad. So you see, students, the case study talks about the government's initiative to bring one card, National Mobility Card, which can be used in different stations and can make the payments easier for the customers and its usage as well. So after hearing this news, one bank called Mega Bank also decided to launch a Mega Mobility Card on similar lines so that they could be the first to exploit the opportunity arising due to increasing trend of digitalization. These are the key words, students. First, to exploit the opportunity, and increasing trend of digitalization. These words clearly point towards 2 of the importance. In order to improve their performance, they laid a plan to hire more people in the marketing department and prepared guidelines to train their sales force to market the new card facility being launched by the bank. So all these process, it is also talking about enhancement of performance by making an optimum utilization of the available resources, whether it is the human resource or whether it is the physical resource. All these have been properly launched and marketed by the bank. So now by quoting the lines, you have to explain any 2 points. Since only 2 points have been asked, we are supposed to restrict to the number, and giving the 2 points, you can talk about first mover benefit, FB, by seeing the opportunity. And secondly, you can talk also about adaptation to the changes, or we can call it as coping with rapid changes due to digitalization as the recent trend. Third one can also be enhancement of performance by putting the optimum utilization of resources. So P and R can also be talked about in these points. However, restrict your answer to 2 points and also quote the lines as asked in the question. Like, students, if you are saying the first mover benefit, you must quote these lines. First, to exploit the opportunity. If you are saying about coping with the rapid changes, you must say due to increasing trend of digitalization. Similarly, if you are talking about making optimum utilization of resources, you must talk that they laid down a plan to hire more people in marketing department and guidelines to train the sales force. All these lines can be utilized to ensure optimum utilization of available resources. Now moving on to the next question, also relating to importance of business environment. This is another case study which has come as a one marker, and we are supposed to choose any one of the following options. SK Builders became the market leader in the designer house segment as it was the first to recognize the need of using artificial intelligence in designing houses. In changing environment of technological advancement, this highlights towards one of the importance. So two things have been talked about. One is first to recognize, first mover advantage, and secondly changing environmental conditions, which represents coping with the rapid changes. So let's see which option fits the best. The question is not talking about early warning and threat signals. It's not about what's. It's about identifying the opportunities and getting the first mover advantage. Yes, that's correct. FBO has been talked about. Utilizing the resources R, point number R is not in this lines, and improving the performance. The question also does not comment upon improvement of the organization's performance, called SK Builders. So clearly the correct answer would be option B, where they have got the first in the market to recognize the need of using AI in the current scenario and keeping abreast with the technological advancements in the field. So I hope students the topic is very clear to you through these questions. Always make it a point to learn the points with the help of acronyms so that such case studies can easily be solved as an MCQ, as one markers. And as you can see in the previous three questions, everywhere the first mover benefit has been talked about. So we can infer that this particular point amongst the importance of business environment is highly important, and you must go through it properly. Thank you.